Hoffaday. This is Mariana's Press, and we're so grateful to be joined with the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Insular and International Affairs, Angel Demapan. Mr. Demapan, welcome to the program and congratulations on your new job.
Thank you, Thomas, and thank you for having me on your program. I look forward to being able to use this as a vehicle to continue to engage with our community and with the insular areas as well.
And so you were the legislative director under the delegate, and of course, the news broke in the last 24 hours of your new role. Just tell us first how it all transpired, how you're feeling. This is a significant development for the Commonwealth and for yourself as well.
It is, Thomas. It's a very significant development, and it's just been a whirlwind of emotions, primarily because this has been just a huge celebration of honor for the Marianas. When I received news of my appointment, I couldn't help but think first about how monumental this would be for the Northern Marianas. Since we became a Commonwealth government, we have waited so long to have representation in the United States executive branch, and that day is here. And it's very humbling that I have the honor to serve as that vehicle, and I have the honor to become now the new Deputy Assistant Secretary for Insular and International Affairs.
And before this, you were the legislative director for Delegate Kimberlyn King Hines. Tell us just about how you got to this point. Was this something that you applied for, that you were recruited for? And for those who might be wondering, what is the role of the deputy assistant for Insular and International Affairs?
Yes, Thomas. So in early March, I left the CNMI to take on the position of legislative director under Delegate Kimberly King Hines. And so I had just completed a little over a month of work there. And in the course of that month, I received information from the White House that I was being considered. And this consideration was also due in large part to the recommendation that the delegate herself had submitted to the transition team shortly after the president's inauguration, shortly after the president's election. So it's been a long process, but it was also a process that involved vetting other recommendations from the insular areas and from the United States also. I took on the position of legislative director, knowing that this appointment may have not materialized. And so, in the course of working for the congressional office, I received that call, and I was informed of my elevating the recommendation being elevated to now being vetted. Uh, and so I agreed to continue with the vetting process and to see where we end up. And so that process happened, and then I received a call a few weeks ago asking if I would consider a first and tentative offer, and that would put me into the process of going before the interview process panel. And so I did that. I was interviewed by the White House liaison, and then eventually in another round of interview by one of the president's special assistants from the White House. And so after the interview was done, I was informed that my interview and my background check will be reviewed and will be considered along with other candidates who have made it to that phase. And so on Good Friday, I got the call that my interview and my background check has once again elevated me a step further. So we were getting close, and I was at that point thinking, well, this is probably as far as we're going to get. And then just a few days after Easter, I received the call of my selection. And so upon accepting that offer, I met with Congresswoman King Hines to inform her of my selection. And Congresswoman was very supportive, very happy for the CNMI as well. And so that triggered my 2 weeks notice to begin transitioning out of the congressional office. So I worked my last day at the congressional office this past Friday. Uh, and then I took the weekend off. And just yesterday, which was our Monday, I was sworn in as the new Deputy Assistant Secretary.
Congratulations again. I can't imagine what that time must have been like with all the vetting. But for those who might not be familiar too much with the role, I understand as Deputy Assistant Secretary, you're basically helping oversee the U.S. territories and the freely associated states, right? So, can you tell us what your scope is? You're not necessarily just going to be looking over CNMI matters. You're looking over a broad swath of things, right?
That's correct, Thomas. So the area of responsibility is expanded now to cover all of the insular areas and all of the freely associated states. In this role, it'll be my responsibility to advise the Secretary of the Interior, the Assistant Secretary for Insular and International Affairs on the current issues and on the programs and services that the United States makes available for the insular areas, and through the Compact of Free Association to the freely associated states. So this is a rather large portfolio, but it is a portfolio that I'm very comfortable with dealing. In my previous positions in the legislature and in the governor's office under previous several administrations, I've had the opportunity to engage with international leaders from the freely associated states and with the insular areas as well, and especially with my role in the 902 talks and in regional forums like the Micronesia Island Leaders Forum. That has really given me the exposure and really helped establish the networks and the resources that I believe I will now be putting to use under this new position and this new responsibility.
And given you know all of the scope that you just mentioned, of course, many are happy because perhaps the CNMI will get the attention maybe it didn't receive in the past. So, you know what the conditions are like here. I don't want to rehash that. You know what the state of the Commonwealth is right now. So, given our circumstance, can you just tell us, are there certain things that you're going to be advancing or looking into? I know 902 talks are kind of pending right now. But yeah, what's the mission for the CNMI now in your new role?
So yes, the 902 talks are are in the process of resuming following Governor Palash's recent communication to the White House asking that the previously held 902 talks be resumed. So that is something that we are now working on to formulate and see how we're going to proceed with that. But at the forefront of this, especially for the Commonwealth, and I think it applies to the rest of the insular areas, at the forefront of the work that lies ahead is really um, to take a look at our economic situation and find ways on how our relationship with the United States government can help enhance our economic situation. We are very aware of the recent headlines that have been happening. We're all very aware of the struggles that our business community is facing. So I would like to use this platform as part of my responsibility for the insular areas to take a look at our economic situation and see how our functions here under the mandate of the Department of the Interior, how we can use that tool and that resource to help uplift the economic situation back in the Marianas.
All right, Deputy Assistant Secretary Demapan, thanks for your time. That's all the questions I had. I know it's day 2 or 3 on the job for you, right?
I just completed day two. It's Tuesday evening here, so today was a day filled with briefings and just getting all the resources in. So it's been a lot of deep diving, but I'm excited to get all this information in, and so that we can continue the work of the people here, and we can continue to bring forward the mission of the Department of the Interior to the insular areas and the freely associated states.
All right, Mr. Demapan, anything else you'd like to address that I didn't talk about or ask about? Any message specifically to the CNMI residents watching this right now?
Yes, Thomas, I just want to really share this honor and dedicate it to the Northern Mariana Islands. Like I said in the beginning, it's been a long time coming. It's been a long wait for our people to finally see this day come, and I'm truly humbled and truly honored to have this opportunity. But I would like nothing less than to share this honor with the people of the Marianas, and also to really give thanks and appreciation to my family, especially my wife, my children, our family members and friends who have stood by us over the years in public service. The work is going to continue, and my commitment to public service will be even greater as I take on this tremendous responsibility here in the United States to try to bridge the gap, not just for the Marianas, but the entire insular areas and the freely associated states.
All right, Mr. Demapan, I appreciate your time and looking forward to following your work. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Looking forward to talking to you again.